Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, a channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, in today's video, I've got your weekly Friday update for Jasmy. So in this video, we've got a couple more exchange listings to go over. We had some big-time articles that came out. We even had a couple of commercials that were officially released by the team. So really interesting. We've got some sleuthing things that came out in here thanks to some community members. We're also going to take a look at the chart. You know, we got a couple errors in coin market cap, so those are worth going over. And then we'll wrap this video up with some final thoughts on what it all means. So it should be pretty informative, got a lot to cover, so stick around for that, all right? So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. So I wanted to kick off today's video by first sharing with y'all a couple of centralized exchange listings that Hara has noted over the past week. The first one here is CEX Exchange. Looks like we had that listing on May 19th. Hara announced it on the 21st. And we got a Jasmy USDT pair with that one on CEX Exchange. The next exchange, it was called Bit2Me Global. So this was our other exchange listing over the past week. Both of these are part of the 50 weeks of IR, you know, getting the word out about the coin. And they kind of add to the back of a never-ending list of what it seems like centralized exchange listings for Jasmy. So very bullish on that front. Now, something else that also came out over this past week, we had these two commercials here that came out from the, apparently this is the official Jasmy YouTube page. So as of right now, as of the recording of this video on May 27th, the channel itself only has 419 subscribers, which is kind of funny. So I'll go ahead and subscribe. We'll make that 420, right? Now, these two commercials are both in Japanese, but if you turn on captioning, you can basically see the words for exactly what they're saying and how these commercials work. So thought that was really awesome. These are official commercials from the official team, and this is the official page. We were kind of wondering about this at first, but by all appearances, this is 100% legit from the team that they now finally have a YouTube page with two commercials, both talking about Jasmy Secure PC. So check those out if you get a chance. They're pretty entertaining. You know, one of them, I had made a joke on our last Jasmy call that we did earlier in the week on Tuesday. You know, it said something about, how do I know that my employee is working from home? So I got kind of a little chuckle in that. You know, some of that stuff is exactly where the Jasmy Secure PC comes in terms of monitoring what's happening with that teleworker, right? So moving forward, we also had this article that came out on the 24th. And it's kind of a bit of a backdated article because it's talking about their presentation that they did on April 22nd. But it says, what is Jasmy's strategy for democratizing data that puts a scalpel into centralization of personal information? And this whole article was actually in Japanese. I've got my Google Translate on it. But, you know, Katsumasa Sato, he kind of kicked it off here, talked all about, you know, the personal data lockers, etc. Then we had Hara come on here and talk about the DD coin. So we've been learning more about this DD coin. So this is basically a stable coin that's based on the yen. Multiple uses for it, one of which, probably one of the main ones, is going to be with the personal data lockers. So the way it works with these lockers is that the user puts their data into the locker, okay? Now, a business will come along and say, hey, I would like access to that data. So Jasmy, the project, will sell them a license, and they will have to pay for the data with the Jasmy coin, okay? Now, when they pay for the data, the user who later gets compensated for their data will receive DD coin, the stable coin, okay? So that's pretty interesting, a little bit of a new wrinkle in this whole thing with DD coin, as well as there's also numerous other areas for it involving NFTs with Jasmy. But I did go ahead and I updated. I've got an article on my website at KIRfinance.com in the blog section that says a deep dive on Jasmy. I updated the image there as well as some other things in that article, and this was one of them. The information that we're now learning about DD coin and how it will be used. So essentially, the user who provides their data will receive DD coin in return. So DD coin is a stable coin based on the yen, and then it's also readily exchangeable for Jasmy coin if you would like to exchange it. Okay, so pretty cool there. We then went on in this Jasmy service. We've got Mr. Hagawara here. He is the Director General Manager of Software Development. So he gave a presentation entitled Explanation of Jasmy Service, including a demo, talking about the Smart Guardian, as well as SKC. So, we've talked about the Secure PC before. That's basically for those teleworkers, as I had already mentioned, uh, uh, monitoring their performance as well as all of the data from their side as well as from the management side. But something else that was interesting in this section here was it says, in addition, PDL, this is the personal data locker, and SKC, a core service, was introduced. So PDL is an online storage platform that uses BC technology. This PDL is how to use the data and how to use it safely. So we know that. Okay, fine. PDL was explained in detail in the demonstration. The assumption is a Jasmy concert. So that's interesting. So it says, before entering this concert, register the information in PDL and purchase an NFT ticket. Keywords and 2D barcodes registered in advance in the PDL are displayed on the screen of the user's smartphone. All you have to do is scan at the concert venue. By reading the 2D barcode, the PDL data is read and managed. On the other hand, anonymized IDs and the like are displayed and managed on the console screen. So that was really kind of interesting. So this is sort of that NFT part. And it says here, another thing that was introduced was a demo of the AI engine. So it is possible to recommend an NFT ticket that suits an individual from information on the individual's interests and location information. So, that's where this Edge AI really comes into play in terms of the data that's available in these personal data lockers. So this is where they're going to be trying to drive up that average revenue per user, so the ARPU. So I've talked about this before, that Facebook's ARPU in 2021 was $41, and Jasmy in their white paper is aiming for 500. So this is kind of like one of those ways that they're doing that, is by applying the Edge AI to the data. Okay. Now we had some more discussion around that with the Nippon Travel Agency. So it says here, some overlap by utilizing Jasmy's PDL and Edge AI, the value that Nippon Travel Agency did not know or could not provide. It is said that it will provide new value, right? So by having that data, we can suggest new trips that somebody would want to go on, have all that organized. Pretty cool, right? Construction of the next generation home call center. So Mr. Sasuke Mori of Transcosmos, who provides outsourcing services that comprehensively and globally support client sales expansion, cost optimization, reported on collaboration with Jasmy. So this is one of their partners, Transcosmos. They're utilizing Jasmy Secure PC for the contact center. So this is more of that teleworker stuff. Okay. Now at the bottom here, this was kind of cool too. It says initiatives with Sagan Dreams. So Mr. Hiroshi Uchida of Sagan Dreams, who runs the J League team Sagan Tosu. So this is the football club, the soccer team there in Japan, whose hometown is Tosu City, Saga Prefecture, mentioned that he received the sponsorship contract money at Jasmy Coin and developed his own fan token. So that's pretty awesome. So this fan token is a token of basically Jasmy times Sagan Tosu, which is a fan membership that utilizes NFTs. So we aim to be a community where players and teams grow together with their fans. So I've talked about that also, and there's other projects in the crypto space that do exactly this. Like I want to say, I think it was Chili's was one of them. But essentially, when you have that NFT fan token, that could give you like behind the scenes access to the team, things going on in the team, voting on uniform change, for example, or whatever you have. So that yet another use case for Jasmy. So I found that pretty awesome there. Now, down here at the bottom, it says the future that Jasmy changes. So, future personal information will shift from a passive defensive era to an aggressive era that can be freely utilized by Jasmy's technology. With this personal information as a starting point, the desired recommendations and tokens that are returned as rewards to individuals can efficiently find what users really want, and individuals can earn new sources of income. Let's go. So I thought that was pretty cool, right? Really, really solid article. Really liked that one. Now, moving forward here, so I want to share a couple of articles. These are a little bit older. This one actually, no, this one's pretty recent here, May 20th. But some of these articles also had some really good points in them. So this article here from this Times Newswire, and I got to do a shout out to Brian Russell again for sharing these with me. He's like the Sherlock Holmes of some of these Jasmy articles. I mean, he really finds a lot, and he shared them with me. And so thank you, Brian. Lots of really good info in here, especially in this one. So summary of key points here, some of the various advantages that Jasmy has, their business context, the government side, the coin itself, all the exchanges it's listed on, the community activity, etc. We go on, we talk about, some of the challenges with Web 3.0, the various technical functions, et cetera, et cetera. Moving on down. Now, there were some other really interesting things in here that I kind of wanted to share. They did show the team in here, exactly who's involved, as well as their backgrounds, the core team members, obviously Kunitake Ando, Katsumasa Sato, etc., Hiroshi Hirata, so Hara, and moving on down the line. Now, it was right here. This was, I think, the most critical part of this entire article, and this is why I wanted to highlight. So, project analysis, right? So, this is talking about Secure Guardian and the Secure Knowledge Communicator. These are both of the patented technologies with Jasmy. Now, what is key here is this one line that if this wasn't highlighted, you may have just skimmed right over it, or you may not even see it in the first place, right? And it says SG is a distributed authentication technology developed by Sony computer engineer, now Merida. Okay. So this goes back to those ties of Sony and Jasmy. So this is one of the overarching questions in the community here in this project, along with some of the government side of things, is how closely is Jasmy actually tied to Sony? And this is very eye-opening, this statement here. So basically a Sony computer engineer invented Secure Guardian, but Jasmy has it as a patented technology. How does that happen, right? Think about that. So Sony invented it, but it's a patented technology with Jasmy. How does Jasmy buy a patented technology from Sony? Or is Jasmy Sony? Think about that, right? So I saw this statement and I was like, holy cow, there it is. Nobody's going to catch that. And that kind of tells you what you need to know here. So we have a technology invented by a Sony computer engineer that's patented by Jasmy. So is Jasmy Sony? Well, this is yet another sort of clue out there that potentially, yes, it is. Because, the other thing I brought up, and I brought it up in my deep dive article on my website, was if Sony has all the resources, why not just make their own blockchain project? Now, bear in mind, Kunitake Ando, he ran Sony for years and years and years. So did they not make their competitor their own version of Jasmy in respect to him? Or is what he and the following team doing, what they're doing, is this sort of just an offshoot of Sony, where if it pans out, then it can do really well, and Sony can claim credit for it. Or if it doesn't pan out, then no harm, no foul. Sony's not involved with it, right? So, very, very eye-opening statement right there that the Secure Guardian was invented by a Sony computer engineer, but it's a patented technology of Jasmy. So, big time find there, right? Now, moving forward here was another article that Brian had sent me, and there was some really good info on this one as well. This one kind of focuses all around NFTs. So it says the launch of Jasmy NFT allows us to re-examine the socioeconomic benefits and sustainable development path of NFT. So again, this is from Times News Wire. And what this whole article kind of centered around is all of the different ways that Jasmy can use NFTs. And so, if you're not familiar with NFTs, the easiest way to think about an NFT is like a piece of art. And this is commonly kind of where NFTs really started, as sort of like an art or part of a set. So I like to think about it kind of like a digital baseball card, right? So it's a digital baseball card that's part of a set, just like a physical baseball card. The main difference, though, is that because of the blockchain technology, you can see every single time that card was ever transferred between one person to another. We can see every transaction from the very moment it was minted and until current present time. We can see every single transaction. So wouldn't it be really cool if you could go back to like a Babe Ruth rookie card from like the 1930s and see every single time that thing had transacted from then till now? Really, really cool, right? So there's a trail that follows this piece of art. Now, the other thing that's really interesting about it is in NFTs, you can program royalties. So, somebody like, let's say it's Topps, or way back then, I want to say it was like the bubblegum companies made these cards. So what if that bubblegum company had gotten a royalty every time that card had been bought or sold through all the years following since, right? So for the maker of the piece of art or that item that's in the set, it's a really good thing for them because they can make money then for the rest of their existence on this piece of art as long as it transacts. So really cool. Now that's only the art side. So also in NFTs, you can use them for things like memberships. So by having an NFT, you can get an exclusive membership level. There are also numerous other ways that you can take this. Like, for example, the fan token that we just talked about with Sagan Tosu, right? So that you can have the fan token that by holding that token, it gives you exclusive access to the team. So that's really cool. And then they talk about some other ways you can use this. For example, here they've got supply chain finance scenarios where you can use NFTs. And, the personal data lockers tie into all of this, by the way. Let me just say that. And then moving down here, they have another one here on logistics and transportation scenarios. So I highlighted this to kind of go over this because it kind of reminds me of VeChain. So VeChain with the symbol VET is another cryptocurrency. The way VeChain works is by RFID tags. So it's basically like a barcode, right? So they put a barcode on a product. Let's say it's a case of beer, and they can follow that product every step of the logistical way that what's happening to it and way it's scanned, et cetera. And they can make efficiencies for you because they can see where it's not efficient. So it kind of helps in the logistics side of moving a product from start to finish because they can make it more efficient, right? Well, this is basically along those exact same lines, except we're not using an RFID tag. Instead, we're using an NFT. So in the example here, they talk about a bottle of red wine that can be assigned an NFT. So it can include time-stamped metadata about when, where, how the wine was made, other important info. And then it says, as products move through the supply chain, NFTs are scanned and new time-stamped metadata is added. This data may include its warehouse location, time of arrival, time of departure. And then once the wines reach their final destination, the store, that's the buyer, can scan them and mark them as received. So detailed historical records can be be viewed, and the authenticity and logistics journey of the wine can be confirmed with the winery through the contract system. So you can see there from start to finish, if you start applying this to all the various products that are out there, there is a ton of potential here. So they had this little image here also. I thought this was pretty cool. So it says Jasmy NFT supply chain logistics, kind of start to finish, where you could follow this NFT through its entire process. So I thought that was just really, really cool. So this is an awesome article for anybody who wants to learn more all about the various ways that Jasmy can use NFTs and how they tie into the personal data lockers. I found this to be really bullish overall. Just a really solid article. So if you're looking for that one, this one again, it's Times News Wire, the launch of Jasmy NFT. So great article there. Now, I also had this page here. So this is really interesting. So again, Sleuth Brian sent me this one, right? So this is a company called Advent, kk.co.jp is their website, right? So they are a company that was approved with the Japanese government. And what they primarily worked around was SIM cards and mobile. It's all about SIM cards and mobile. And so they have a history here that dates back. The last post was in August 2020, and the first one was March of 2016. Okay. And most of these posts, center around kind of getting this SIM card business going. And it talks about buying this WeMax mobile network. Okay. But the big thing in here is this partnership with Sony VAIO, right? So they had a partnership with Sony VAIO to supply SIM cards along with this mobile network. Now, where this really gets interesting is, guess who ran Advent Inc.? Well, I've got this image right here. So, Advent Co. Limited, right? Established December 21st, 2015. And it says board member, Kunitake Ando, Katsumasa Sato, Hiroshi Hirata, right? Yoshiro Tanaka. So the whole gang's here, right? So I think the point in all of this is that this was the company that they ran before they started Jasmy. And it looks like they were trying to go the angle of SIM cards and mobile. And then they decided to transition into blockchain, the data lockers, NFTs. They saw a whole lot more potential on that side. Now, one of the questions that I had in my deep dive article was, how did they bankroll Jasmy in the first place, right? Who actually funded this thing? Because in most cryptocurrencies, you see all about VC investment, so venture capital investment. And they usually, cryptocurrencies will list all the various venture capital companies that have invested, right? So, you think about Binance invests, Coinbase invests, FTX invests, all these various companies, KuCoin invests, there's like Pantera, there's a few different other ones that are out there, Alameda Research, some of the various VCs. You don't see any of that with Jasmy, absolutely none of it. So the question then becomes is who actually bankrolled Jasmy? And my running theory, which could be wrong, this could be wrong, but if you look at this and you say, okay, so they had a business centered around SIM cards and mobile, and they had a partnership with VAIO, right? Well, did they spin that off and sell that to VAIO to bankroll Jasmy? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how they started Jasmy, because it would take significant investment. And I have to say that that's one of the things that Brian has kind of pushed us all towards, is these consortiums. So the Japanese government over the last 5 to 10 years has made it a point to try and influence businesses to work together in these consortiums where like-minded businesses come together for the goal of moving Japan towards a society 5.0, which basically uses, blockchain technology, AI, etc., right? So they've been pushing towards this goal. Now, as of recently, they've been pushing it even harder with the Japanese prime minister talking about Web 3.0, the metaverse, etc., NFTs. Jasmy has all of that stuff. We've got the metaverse, NFTs, you name it, right? And so, anyway, it's just kind of, I found this just fascinating that they had this whole other company. And so maybe this company bankrolled it, or there still is that potential that the Japanese government was significantly involved. Because one of the things that Brian's has been able to uncover is that Kunitake Ando, in particular, is in numerous boards throughout the government, and he is highly connected. So everything he's doing, the government knows about it 100%. And so, was there government incentives that got Jasmy off the ground? Maybe. Was it consortium efforts? Maybe. Or could it be potentially they sold this prior business to somebody like Sony, not Sony, excuse me, somebody like VAIO. So again, a Sony spinoff here, VAIO. Did they make money off of that sale? I don't know, but it's possible. So very interesting. Now, the other thing it also tells you is that the VAIO relationship goes back to their time at Sony. So as I mentioned, VAIO originally was a Sony laptop. That's what it was. It looks like it spun off into its own company at some point, and Kunitake Ando and Katsumasa Sato, they basically had partnerships with VAIO dating back to before they were Jasmy to now they still have partnerships with them as Jasmy. So really, really cool kind of detective work there. All right. Now, moving forward, I did want to go over to CoinMarketCap. Really, what I want to highlight here is there was some kind of error or glitch on the 24th on the HODLers for Jasmy where it dropped by like 1,500 here. I'm not really sure why, because Etherscan didn't show this at all. So, there have been some odd issues with CoinMarketCap. And, they still don't have the circulating supply number correct. So, this is still wrong. We still have the correct number here, the self-reported 30.8 billion. They're still saying 4.75. So that's wrong. This HODLer number on the 24th is wrong. And then our current number is actually a little bit higher than this 28,413. So let me move over to Etherscan here. So our current number is 28,421. All right. Now in Etherscan, I looked at all those HODLer wallets, the 500 millions, the 400 millions, the 300 millions. They are all still exactly the same. So we got 2,500s. I think there was 9 400s, and I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 300s. So there you go. The only thing that I noticed differently in terms of the HODLer wallets was this big one here, this 800 million token wallet. Not sure exactly where that one came from. I did click through numerous transactions on it, traced it back to the deployer, but I never once saw any exchange that was tied to that. So I'm not sure exactly where that one exactly derived from outside of this, obviously one of the Jasmy accounts. So that's kind of a new one right there, right? Now, lastly, I did want to move over to TradingView, where we can take a look at the current chart. I had posted earlier that I was hoping this would follow this upward trend line here and trend up. I was hoping we'd maybe get the 2 cents level. Instead, that did not happen, and it just followed the bottom trend line, unfortunately. All right. So I thought we could rebound. We haven't really done that. Now, I do have to say that one of my friends, Jasmy Profit, he did note that we had a double bottom here, and he thought we could have a spike bouncing off of this, and maybe we do, right? Maybe we bounce back up and then finally ride this trend line a little bit more. So still a little more to be seen on that, to be determined. Obviously the whole market has just been kind of, lethargic is probably a good way to put it. I did a video just the other day on Bitcoin and what I thought was going on with all of this. Also now that I think about it, let me go back to CoinMarketCap. I'll show you one last thing here. So on CoinMarketCap and the other guys with me in our various groups, we kind of debate this. So we see this differently, and I'm going to share with you how I see it. So if you're looking at Jasmy under CoinMarketCap and you're looking at it under the overview of the chart, right? So here's the chart. Well, we really want to zoom out. We don't want to look at just one day. So we'll look at all time, okay? So here's the Jasmy chart from when it came out basically until where it's at today. So it's gone down over time. And the reason why is because of the 50 weeks IR, all the exchange listings they've gone on, which is more than any other cryptocurrency I've ever seen. All right. Now, where you can compare it to Bitcoin is if you simply just check this little box here. So when we check the box, here's kind of where we're at. And we want to see Jasmy deviate from Bitcoin. We really do. But this is how most projects are in the crypto market, is they, for the most part, follow Bitcoin. Now, Jasmy has been deviating as of late, and we would like to see it deviate further, but deviate positively, right? So here it's a little bit below. Bitcoin is the yellow line, and Jasmy is the red line. So, we would like more deviation, more positive deviation. And I think that will happen over time, because eventually the Jasmy coin is really going to be more so based around utility as opposed to investment, right? So I think we should see some deviation coming as we wrap up the 50 weeks of IR. And that's not going to wrap up, I don't think, until I want to say like early September or so. So we've still got quite a ways in this 50 weeks of IR. But this is where you can see that it is correlated. For anybody who says, yeah, but Jasmy, went down, or why is it down, or what's going on? It's tied into the rest of the crypto market is the truth here. Over time, hopefully it breaks free of that as time moves on. But right now, it's still pretty tightly correlated. So that's why I have that view. All you have to do is go over here to CoinMarketCap, click the BTC button, and you can take a look at that, right? So that's what I've got in the update for today. So stick around here in a couple minutes, and I'll bring it home with some final thoughts. If you're enjoying today's video and want to learn more, make sure to visit our website at KIRfinance.com, your one-stop resource shop. Once you're at the site, the first thing to do is provide your email in order to be made aware of future announcements, including blog posts, products, and services. Next, check out the About Me section for a little bit about our mission and how we plan to pay it forward. We also have links to our social media, including Twitter and YouTube. Our brand new Patreon page was also just launched with the website, where users are offered various membership tiers for exclusive content and access. We even have a blog now where I plan to post daily financial articles. There's also a link to our merch shop where we've got KIR Finance product options for the whole family. Our affiliate links are posted for endorsed platforms. Just click the picture. NFTs are also available now at OpenSea.io. We have a financial education section, which includes my book on personal finance and soon-to-be course links. And lastly, if you'd simply like to leave a tip, you also have that option, and we'll mention your support in our next video. Thanks for watching, and now let's get back to the video. So for some final thoughts on today's video. First of all, we had 2 more exchange listings that continues the 50 weeks of IR, as I mentioned, that should be going all the way through roughly August, September of this year. So I would expect more exchange listings around the corner. But we got 2 more, so pretty bullish on that front, and that's 2 more added to sort of a never-ending list of exchanges for Jasmy coin, right? Next, we had those couple articles. So numerous articles out there. They shared a lot of information. They really did. So if you haven't seen those articles, highly recommend you check those out. I'll have links for them in the video description. You can check them, read them yourself if you want to get all the details in there, but there's a lot. But really good info, including, the info on the NFTs, all the info from the team. We talked about DD coin, the stable coin, really, learning a lot through all those various articles. Then we also had the article that talked about how Secure Guardian was actually invented by a computer scientist at Sony. So how exactly does Jasmy secure a patent on something invented at Sony? Is Jasmy Sony? We'll just let that one ride for a little bit. Let that one simmer, right? So, moving on from there. Anyways, sorry, lost my train of thought there. So, moving on, going to CoinMarketCap, a little bit more of the same. I showed you that error. I showed you the problem with circulating supply numbers, still wrong. But, you know, Mount Jasmy continues to build by the day, even in this lethargic market that we've been in. Moving over to TradingView, showed you the chart where we're at. Hopefully we get a rebound and a bump from here. We've kind of had a double bottom. So potentially we move up to that next trend line. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. In terms of my personal Bitcoin predictions, I did do a video on that just yesterday, so give that one a watch if you want to see what I think is going to happen in the latest update for the market on what I'm kind of predicting for a market turnaround and when. All of that's in that video, all right? And so in all of that, still another real bullish week here with Jasmy. A lot of information, a lot about NFTs, you know, little nuggets, Easter eggs. And, you know, if you go to that official YouTube page and turn on the closed captions, you can also watch their commercials for Secure PC. So thought that was really awesome. Looking forward to see what we've got coming out next week. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting and retweeting, so check me out there. And lastly, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.